So find me Morgan.
Yeah.
Make there less Raven.
Who's going to be the scapegoat?
And who do we kill? All right, this is Moto Stories with Unkie Phil, and it's one of my favorite worlds because Oscar is one of the people that made my life better, and we're going to enjoy Oscar as much as we possibly can. Now, we have done some traveling together. Oscar and I have been to the Isle of Man.
Yes.
2019, the last Isle of Man that happened before COVID took it away from us. We got to go to Isle of Man, and we stayed there for 10, 11 days. It was pretty great. And that was a very cool experience. We'll never be able to top the weirdness that happened in the wettest Isle of Man ever. But we had a great time. It was super cool. But the traveling doesn't always go perfectly well. Sometimes it gets a little awkward. So,
well, and that's kind of, well, at least for us going to LMN,
yeah,
it's still English.
Yes, it's still English. That's right. We can still talk our way out of the situation. Although everyone did think we were gay.
Nah, it wouldn't be the first time they think about it.
It's not too bad. Yeah, but this story, I guess the story I want to tell. I showed up at we were prepping for the No Border Limits rally that goes down into Mexico. So it runs down into Mexico, and it's generally just a bunch of people from San Diego and other areas. We meet up at Motorsport Scooters in San Diego by the airport. We meet up there, and everybody kind of gets their shit together and kind of figures out where we're going, and then eventually mass exodus, right? But I'm going along, and I see this bike, this P200. Flat black, murdered out, looks like it just escaped the scene of Mad Max.
Yeah.
And it's got a gas mask where the headlight should be. And it's got it had two M240 machine gun barrels. So there were
strapped
two
to the
machine
side
gun barrels that were U-bolted through the frame, through the chassis. So you're going down the road and you see this gas mask, and then you see this two machine gun barrels. And this shit was Warrior Wasteland approved.
Yeah, well, not all the rallies, but most of the rallies, they have the rat bike.
The rat bike, right?
So
it's kind of a big deal. Josh D built a rat bike out of a buddy.
Yeah.
And it's always about like the most
grungy,
honestly offensive.
It is.
It has to be frightening. It has to be annoying. If you had like 96 dicks hanging off of it.
I was going to say that.
Okay, right? I mean, we've been there.
Yeah.
Anything you can do to get people pissed off.
And then one on the helmet, just for
a dick on the helmet,
a
big rubber dick on the helmet. Unicorn themed is usually a good tip.
Has to be pink though.
Right. And so that's kind of the way this bike, but this bike was flat black, and it was like the angriest Vespa that ever been created. I know that to people watching us right now, they're like, oh, the angriest Vespa. Oh yeah, right. That's like a 250 Ninja. It's legit. It's not too angry. But I saw that bike and I was like, everybody's taking pictures of it, and it's super cool. And then I met Raven. So I met Raven, who was the pilot of that bike, right? And so I was like, okay, cool. She's got her shit together. And she's an adventurous person.
And she's a good rider. She does.
No, she does all kinds of cool
bikes
shit.
And stuff. Yeah. I mean, she's not.
And I think she was calling, I think her channel was called Reventurous, right? So she's very much adventure forward. Right. And this is an excursion into Mexico, and we're going to have a great time. And all I remember was at some point our group, we stopped for a lunch or something.
Yep.
It was a gas station. It was a gas stop that took a little too long, but the group broke up.
So we were going to San Felipe.
Yeah.
From San Diego. If you look at the map, we're crossing Baja sideways.
We crossed Baja sideways. Yeah.
So that's pretty much 300 miles, pretty much sideways.
Yeah. Dude, at one point we're riding along, we're hauling ass, and these score trucks, like legit trophy trucks, we're on the road being us at 55 miles an hour, and we're just like, super cool, and then whoa, these 1,000 horsepower vehicles jump to the road in front of me like a deer. And I was like shitting my pants because I'd never seen the bottom of a score truck, like a trophy truck. And this thing had like a 93-foot long suspension system, and it just vaulted the road in front of us. And I didn't know that we had entered a race, but we were in the race now. Yeah. And so we just tried not to die. But they jumped through our rally. Yeah. And it was not 3 cars.
No, there were a bunch of them.
It was a bunch of cars, and we got to see everything. And eventually, the little the VWs went by, the Baja VWs,
Yeah.
and we were like cheering those guys on, like, "You can do it, air cooled, you rock." But so that's where we were. So for people who aren't familiar with like that part of Mexico, that's where the Bajas were.
Yeah, we're crossing through Baja, and
San
then
Felipe.
it was. I can't remember how close we were. Not halfway. It was probably more than that. It was probably like 30, 50 miles from San Felipe.
Yeah. When that
Middle
happened.
of nowhere. It was in the desert.
And I think San Felipe just exists to burn gasoline.
Yeah, there's nothing around there. Even San Felipe is a small town. I mean, there's
a little tiny town.
There's a lot of resorts.
Yeah.
They have a lot of their
There are some high-rises there.
all-inclusive stuff.
Yeah.
Other than that, there's not a lot around there.
A couple of bars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we stopped for lunch, and then with a big group.
Yeah, we had a really good group of people. I mean, a group that I would call 100 plus bikes, critical mass. Like we had a good group of people, but at some point, like the group kind of busted up.
That's the problem with getting into a small restaurant with a bunch of people.
Oh God!
You get lumps of people eating.
But do they know about Mexico time? Okay, so when you order a meal in Mexico, when you go into a restaurant to order a meal in Mexico, that had better be the last thing you do that day.
Yeah.
And we're not criticizing it, but this is not the kind of thing you do while your buddies are getting gas.
Especially with big groups.
And that was the thing.
Yeah.
And this was a place that was kind of a adobe wall, small, you know.
In the middle of nowhere.
Mom and Abuelina, that was it. Like that was it. It was a super tiny place, and maybe 7 or 8 of our group was like, we're hungry, and if we don't eat, we're going to turn into real monsters.
We'll stop.
And we were like, fucking energy bar, keep moving. But no, these people were like, we got to have a meal. And they stopped to have a meal, but it was like, you forget you're in Mexico. Yeah. So these people probably thought they were in San Diego and they could get in and out, fish tacos gone in 9 minutes. No. Yeah. Like they sat down, they were in there for 19 drinks. I know, I drank 19 drinks while they were waiting to get waited on. Yeah. And like the chips and salsa hadn't hit the table yet.
No.
But meanwhile, the rest of our group is like, we have a destination. Yeah. We have a place to be and beers to drink in San Felipe, like in an hour.
And our group got the short end of the stick. We were the last group to leave the place.
Yes,
and it was, I don't know, 7 or 8 bikes.
Yeah.
It was a small group.
We had managed to end ourselves in a very, very small group.
Yeah.
But worst thing was, it wasn't that we were in a group of 7 or 8, but it was one person who decided they were just going to sally forth on their own.
So I was leading that ride.
Yep.
And my take on rides in general, I ride as slow as the slowest bike you have.
That's the rule.
Keep the pack together.
Right. Especially when you're the sub pack. Yeah. Especially when, like, this whole group had decided to go eat. I had decided to buy liquor from the gas station. So I thought it was a better idea to go to the Ocho Ocho. So I went to the Ocho Ocho and got booze and drinks, and I was just drinking outside while they were sitting there waiting for a table.
For the Mexican, it's Oxo.
Okay, sorry.
But go ahead. I digress.
I'm not real good at Spanish. I will admit that. So I was making myself cocktails. Well, you know, bag cocktails. As, you know, any port in a storm. But they were inside trying to get food, and I kept going in to check on them. But you had that little sense of urgency, like, we should probably get going. And I would walk in the building and be like, hey guys, like maybe this isn't McDonald's. Maybe we need to move out. And no, it's gonna be fine. And at some point, Raven just got on her bike alone and just off she fucked.
Right.
She's like, I know where I'm going. I can take care of this.
She kind of went through. We were in a pack, and all of a sudden she's like, I need to go know how fast my bike goes. And it was a straightaway.
Oh, that's right, because it was just a straight. So she wanted
it was just
to do a
straight shot.
Speed run.
Yeah, it was. We're 30 to 50 miles away from the destination. Just a straight shoot on the desert.
Which, if you want to know how fast your bike goes, you need 1 mile.
That's the place to do it.
Like 1 mile, you know how fast your bike goes.
In your home country.
That's an important tip you actually made just there.
Oh.
Because she was going light speed.
Yeah, and also in a language that you actually speak.
Also true.
We did.
So we gathered our ducks, our group. So our group got together. You got us all together again, and you did kind of the military. They do that, right? And we got all together, behind Oscar, and Oscar's leading us gallantly off into
55, 60.
from one side of the Baja Peninsula to the other side of the Baja Peninsula. But we came across a military checkpoint. And this is not a military checkpoint that they hastily assembled,
no.
5 minutes ago. This had been there for like 100 years, at least.
Yeah.
There was concrete and barricades and machine gun nests and tanks and all kinds of cool shit. And guys with more shit on their shoulders than Muammar Gaddafi.
Yeah.
Right? Like, these guys were generals in the capitalist sense of the term.
They got all the ranks in there.
They do.
Yeah.
And they do. And we pulled
and
up,
we saw all of them.
and honestly, from a quarter mile away, the one thing we all picked out next to the military vehicles was Raven. And Raven was standing there next to this black bike with her hands on her hips in a very, like, I'm trying to tell you something. Why aren't you paying attention to me? You need to listen to what I'm saying kind of way. Like that
Why don't you
posture.
understand freedom units? Come on.
The body language involved was like, oh boy, I think she needs an intervention.
Yeah.
And we all stopped. What I will say is, you didn't tell anybody, but we all stayed machine gun distance away.
Yeah.
Like, nobody told us to stay back 200 meters, but we were totally back 200 meters.
You knew the drill.
Yes, I'm military. We all
You're
stayed
like-
way the fuck back, and I told everybody, let Oscar handle this. Because it was a bunch of freaking pale faces. Like, we know smallpox blankets. That's all we got. Oscar, this is his job now. This is why Oscar is so important.
And
Oscar...
From that group, I was the only Spanish-speaking person
you were the
in
only
that
Spanish-speaking
group.
people.
So,
Her boyfriend was driving the truck,
yeah, Chris.
the Dodge.
Yep.
So he actually talks to dolphins. So let's just put
Oh
it
my
what
God,
it is.
yeah,
So
he's
Chris is a military
sweetest guy ever.
but Chris legit talks to dolphins, and like he's one of the most beautiful people you ever meet in your life. And he's driving the truck chasing us, like he's our follow-up.
Mm-hmm.
But he wants to get involved because his girlfriend, and he wants to like.
And the barrels he got.
And those
through
are
the-
his barrels from the military. Those are leftover military, like Navy SEALs barrels. Well, Oscar goes walking up and takes off his high-tech helmet, because you had that rear view,
The rear view one, yeah.
legit space, like Starship Troopers helmet. He pulls this thing off and it's like, and the helmet comes off and he's riding a shitbox bike.
Yeah.
And he walks up to like the El Comandante. And we are all staying back, and we were legit like, oh my God, Oscar's gonna talk down the Mexican military. The negotiations from our
took a
angle,
while. It took
from
a while.
our angle, it was a half an hour.
Yeah, it took a while because so I talked to the first guy. He was like, why do you have these things in here? I was
They're
like,
machine gun barrels.
because they're funny. They were like, well, they're part of it.
Guns are hilarious.
Yeah, because why not? Scooters are dumb.
Don't you appreciate the irony? Scooters and machine guns.
Well, obviously he was more concerned of where's the rest
Where's
of the
the
parts.
rest of the guns?
We gotta take all the other scooters
In
apart.
retrospect, that's good thinking.
Yeah,
Because if this person's bringing in the barrels,
where's the rest of
where's
it?
the receivers?
Right.
Right. Yeah.
So that was his.
And Mexicans are strangely sensitive about American guns. Go figure.
So on, FYI, those checkpoints are only for checking for guns and drugs.
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
No
Alcohol-
ID. We don't give a crap of all that
If
stuff.
anybody
It's just
says they're
guns
from
and
the
drugs.
ATF, they're not there for the tobacco.
No, it's just guns and drugs. That's pretty much it. And we had guns. So
I watched you talk to not one but 3 members of the Mexican military.
with different ranks
With
and
different
stuff.
ranks. The last guy's rank went over his shoulder.
And the whole hat
And he had
the whole
this
thing.
crazy helmet like hat on that was like creased and folded by a professional.
Nicely.
He had a dude behind him following with his rank. Like that dude was the El Comandante.
The rest of the pins and all that
We
shit.
were saying like El Jefe. This guy was legit the man of that checkpoint. And Oscar is just like negotiating.
I was like,
Okay, so let the people know how the negotiations ended. Because I will like to say, spoiler alert, Raven didn't go to jail.
yeah.
She might have needed to.
They wanted to.
Oh no, they were all
They
about
definitely
taking her to
wanted
jail.
to, so it's
I saw 3 different people walk up to her with handcuffs.
Yeah.
And then they got turned away.
So it started as, what are the rest of the pieces?
Yeah.
She needs to go somewhere away from here. To more and more people on top of the.
So find me
Oh my
more
God.
gun.
Yeah.
Make their less Raven.
Who's going to be the scapegoat?
And who do we kill?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, who do we imprison?
Yeah. So it got downgraded.
Because once you find machine gun parts, you kind of have to arrest somebody.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
So it, so it got downgraded to just keep the barrels. We keep the girl.
Oscar did this. I watched it happen.
And then
he
just-
traded barrels for a woman.
And we'll just scoot away.
He came back and he reported, you reported your situation.
Yeah.
He said, I've negotiated a trade. We have to give them the barrels
Yep.
and we will keep Raven and the bike. And what did I do?
We got the fuck out of here as fast as we
And
can.
Chris and I, so they pulled Chris's truck over and took his truck apart.
Yeah.
So they took Chris's
you're
truck
right.
apart
Yeah, they took-
completely.
yeah.
Because they figured he had the rest of the machine guns, which isn't bad logic in retrospect.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I grabbed every tool I had and we took the machine gun barrels
As
off of the
fast as we
bike as
can,
fast
yeah.
as we could. And we proudly gave them to the Mexican military, realizing their barrels were probably worn out.
Well, the fun part, I don't know if you remember this, but Chris and Raven were mentioning that those were used
They were
barrels.
throwaways.
Yeah, they were throwaways, and we're like, no.
These are better
The
than...
military was like, no. These are way usable, better than the stuff we have
And
currently.
I can confirm that because
They-
I did.
Yeah.
Because I did that, and that the Mexicans were like, the Mexican military
It's-
was
you're
like,
right.
we're
It's
going to take
reused
these
stuff, yeah.
because these are nicer.
Oh, we'll keep these, yeah.
These are good because we throw shit away way too frequently. And so after that, it was a pretty good moment.
Yeah.
Now I would like to say to polish that story up just a little bit at the end. Did anybody ever tell her she'd get in trouble for those barrels?
Oh yeah, multiple times. when we started the whole riot and we met at the Bailey's and said,
Our friend Steve came out and straight up said,
and we were like,
you can't do that in Mexico.
that's probably not a good idea. And she was like, oh, we'll be fine. I've been in Mexico multiple times, in and out, no problems.
So for our friends Steve and Stina,
Yeah.
Steve made it a point, and we love them, and they are
Best
seriously
people ever.
part of our heart. Steve made it a point of saying, look, if you try that shit in Mexico,
It's on you.
it's on you. We're not going to be responsible for that. But we can tell you, as the two of us, thank God Oscar was there.
And it
Oscar
most
was
likely
there.
wouldn't be an issue if she didn't go in front of us
Yeah, she
by
was
herself.
alone.
She was the first
Yeah,
person
she
to
was
hit
alone.
the checkpoint.
Right.
If she kept to the rest of the group,
Yeah.
blend in,
Right.
no issue.
It wouldn't have been a big deal because we'd gone through so many of those.
Yeah.
And I got to learn the difference. Like the Federales were the guys in the blue.
Yeah.
So the Federale guys, they all had automatic weapons, but they were super sweet to us. And the military guys were kind of super sweet to us. And the police guys were super sweet to us, but it was because we had that big pack.
Yeah.
We had that large group.
It makes a big difference.
And then her being on her own, though, she was just chumming the water, man. Yeah, so that's it. So if you do travel in a foreign country, in a foreign land, it's good to have a fixer, right? Oscar is available for any of your trips to Mexico. He likes motorcycles.
I'll try.
Yeah, exactly. Good, it has a good fondness for seafood.
That's the romantic
And,
Hispanic.
He is a romantic Hispanic. That's a good. Tell your friends. It's hilarious, but that's one of those things that when we think back and we're
That's a
older
classic.
and we go back and we're like, yeah, that happened. It was a real thing. But it's not as good as the mariachi music in the Italian restaurant. But that was pretty good too.
That's a good one.
That was a good one too. But we'll get that later sometime. So with that, remember to please ride fast and take chances. Bum, 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 bum. We'll see you on another episode of Moto Stories with your Unkie Phil.
So I don't care where you're from. This is open to you if you're on planet Earth. If you win, we're going to send it to you. I don't gives a damn where you are.
Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
The crazier the better.
It would be an honor for me to send it to you in a far off location. So remember, tell your friends, get together, and put together a fun video or a fun story about your moto story, and we're gonna put it on Moto Stories with Unkie Phil. Now, guys, there are rules because there have to be rules. We can't just have you guys
We're not like sticklers on rules here, but
I know, but-
there's always a line.
All right, there's always a line. So here's the rules. One, if you're gonna shoot us a video, either send us the whole damn video,
Right.
and all the file transfer methods account.
Because we're going to want everybody to watch it.
Yes, or send us a link to a video you've already got somewhere.
If you're already YouTube famous, we're cool with that too.
I'm okay with that too. Exactly. Now, maybe it's just a really, really good story, like you're really good on the clickety-clickities, then send it to us. Okay, guys, now, how do you submit them? Well, submitting them is rather easy. So we have managed to have this place called Moto Stories with Unkie Phil @gmail.com. And that's going to appear probably down here somewhere in this general area if Steve and Fernando have got their stuff together. It's going to be right down there. And you're going to send any evidence you have. Yeah, you said it right there. Right. And when you send them to us, make sure you send the video or a link to the video, because that's the repository. That's where they're going to be. That's where they will all be heavily scrutinized. Literally, artisanally judged for their integrity, their veracity, and their silliness.
I'm afraid we're going to get so much content, it's going to be crazy.
Yeah, it'll be one guy posting 200 videos. Okay,
pics.
we know what it's going to be. Yeah, I hate to say it, but we know that's where it's going.
Somebody's doing
But
it.
it's probably not. I'll bet you these people are going to impress us, because it's all going to go, every single one of those, motostories@gmail.com, it's all going to go right there. Your videos, your link to your videos, your script, your Sanskrit.
We can't actually read.
We can read. You can do it. If you want to impress me with a spoken word, by God, just send me an audio track. That's all I need, because we'll post it nonetheless. But there's big, big prizes to be had. Or more or less, we'll make you internet famous for like a minuscule.
Sure.
Exactly. Check me out. Look at them. These
15
idiots talked
minutes of
about me.
fame.
Right. That could be all you get. But in any case, it'll be fun, and we haven't done it yet. So we've always had fun with things we haven't done yet.
And we'd like to give back to our listeners.
It would be fun. There's no better way to get a part of this than to be a part of this. All right, guys. Well, ride fast and take chances. Subscribe. Press the red button, Steve. Get us out of here. Okay, good.